How many days has it been since November 30th, 2020?
It was 1,203 days ago.
So it's been 1,203 days since I started breastfeeding. That is insane. And I'm just at the beginning of phase number 2, which is also insane. So when I started at day 1, I had no idea what was ahead of me. I didn't know how many days were ahead of me. And now that I'm at 1,200, over 1,200 days, it makes me think, what do I wish I would have known on day 1, and what can I share with other people? So hopefully you get something from this if you're at the beginning of your journey. So the most important thing is mindset. Breastfeeding is definitely a journey. There are days you have to persevere and things you have to overcome, but knowing your why every day is going to get you through those hard times. At the beginning, it's you and your babe just trying to figure it out. Then comes the teething phase, which is a painful and not super fun phase, but I promise it gets easier and it will pass. If you go into toddlerhood, that's a whole different animal. And by animal, I mean they are the actual animal. It's a whole adventure that if you've never breastfed a toddler, it's a journey. So it's just you have to persevere. There's a lot of days where I was done. I was exhausted. I was tired of waking up in the middle of the night. It hurt. I was just touched out. I was done. But I gave it time. I went another week and things got better. They got back to a normal. And having to do with mindset and perseverance and knowing your why. Also, there's confidence in there because as you're breastfeeding out in public or around family and friends, that's going to happen a lot over 1,200 days. Just feel confident. Know that it's completely normal. You are feeding your child and there's nothing to be embarrassed about. There's plenty of ways to be modest when you're out, which I'm definitely modest. I try to cover myself or go to like a more like quieter part of the room or wherever I am. I try to do it a little low key, but I never feel ashamed about it. So be confident. So the other thing is you want to make sure, kind of going with that, is you have the right attire and you're equipped for it. So breastfeeding shirts, especially in those early days when you are feeding all the time, are really handy when you're out and about. So that's what I'm wearing today. It has this little, you lift it up and you can access the milks, as I will refer to them. And they're really good for when you're out in public and your baby is hungry and you want to latch really fast. Breastfeeding shirts are great. You can also do things like button-up shirts, or you can do a regular shirt with a maternity tank top underneath to kind of utilize clothes that you already have. Those are all good when you're out in public. So my go-to, especially in those first couple of months at home, are nursing nightgowns and robes, which I have right here. Let me see if I can gently not wake the baby. So nursing, I love these little like cami nightgowns. And then as you can see here, they have the little fold down for quick breastfeeding. And since both of my babes have been winter babes, I also have the robe that goes with it. So that keeps me warm too. And they're great for when you have company coming over. You can be very comfortable, especially in those early postpartum days when you don't want to put pants on yet, and you look cute and you're comfortable. So breastfeeding is good for you and it's good for your baby. So there are so many, we'll start with baby's immune system. There's so many good benefits that the baby gets from breast milk. It is good for their immunity today. So that means like ear infections, stomach bugs, the latest flu that's going around, but it's also good for their lifelong immunity. It can help protect them from diabetes, obesity in the future, even sudden infant death syndrome. It also, okay, so this is one thing I think is so cool about breastfeeding. So my breast milk is specially formulated for my child. As they nurse, they their body communicates to my body, and it changes the formula of the breast milk for what they need. So if they're sick, it actually sends them the antibodies they need. If they are infants, that's a different formula than it will be when they are toddlers, because it's always changing for the individual child. And that is like the craziest, coolest thing to me that I had learned about breastfeeding. I had no idea. I thought it was like a, one and done. This is the milk. This is the baby. Like if you bought cow's milk from the grocery store, but it's not. It's a special formula just for them. So it's not just baby, it's mom. Like we also get benefits from it. So we get, it will lower our risk of ovarian cancer, breast cancer, diabetes, high blood pressure, osteoporosis, which are lifelong benefits that we get. But it also gives you and your baby immediate benefits, which is bonding. It releases oxytocin, which will help your uterus contract after birth. It's just that skin to skin as you're breastfeeding also helps regulate baby's baby's system after they're born. So it's just the amount of benefits for baby and mom is just endless. That all went into my why. Why do I persevere through those days? So it all kind of goes together. Okay, this is practical advice. Breast pumps. So with Wade, I had a breast pump, and it was a plug into the wall breast pump. Let me grab it. So big bag, plugged into wall, or you could plug it into your car, which means while I was breastfeeding, I was always attached to a chair or something. There's nothing special. There's like cords and, different little things in there. But it's huge also. And I really didn't like breastfeeding because I am always in a chair breastfeeding baby, or I was in the chair pumping, and I had stuff around the house I need to do. So I knew if I ever had a second child, I would get a wearable breast pump. Introducing wearable breast pump. This is the Mom Cozy M5. And this allows me, especially with a toddler, it allows you to be up and moving around as you're pumping. And so this morning I was cooking breakfast while I was pumping. I can still take care of what Wade needs. I can just walk around and I'm not trapped to a chair. So this is super handy. I've been really happy with the Mom Cozy. There's a lot of different ones out there, and I probably read everyone's opinion of everything. Everyone likes some, everyone doesn't like some. I don't know. Unfortunately, you buy it, you try it. Hopefully it works for you, otherwise you're buying a second one. But they are super fun. If you want to look like you've had breast augmentations, you can momentarily while you're pumping. It looks hilarious, and it makes me laugh at myself every time. But yeah, these just fit right into your bra. And you can turn them on. Some of them say they're quiet. I wouldn't necessarily call it quiet. Like I wouldn't be pumping out in public and think no one would know, because you're definitely going to hear it and you're definitely going to notice this huge thing. But I really like these. These are great. So get a wearable breast pump. And kind of along those lines, this is a Haka. And so this is genius. It looks so simple. But when you're feeding, if you attach this to the opposite breast, it just goes on there, it will collect your letdown. And this is a great way to add to your milk stash without doing anything different. You're feeding your baby anyway. It also keeps you from, otherwise that milk's wasted into like a breast pad. So nursing pad, I think is what they're called. So a Haka, please, this is like game changer. Let's see what other tips I have for you guys. Okay, this is a good one. Especially, a lot of this is like early days, because once you're breastfeeding a toddler, you don't need some of this stuff. But a comfortable breastfeeding area. You are feeding a lot in those early days. So have a good chair that you like to sit in. Next to the chair, have a little table with water on it. Have your breastfeeding pillow there, which I suggest, especially when they're so tiny. I love I think it's a Boppy breastfeeding pillow. I'll show it to you. and have your phone there, have some burp cloths there, which are like key in those early days. Have everything you would want when you're breastfeeding. And then right beside it, have a diaper changing station, because usually those things are going to go hand in hand. That way, when you're up in the middle of the night, you don't have to think about anything. Everything you need's right there. And before I go to bed, I usually make sure that's stocked. So in the middle of the night, I'm not looking for things. Oh, an extra little added thing is I always have an extra outfit sitting there at night. So if we have a blowout in the middle of the night, I'm not having to like go find an outfit. There's one already there. It's been 1,200 days. A lot happens in 1,200 days. One of those things is night weaning. At some point between like 18 months and 2 years old, I was exhausted. Some people have great sleepers. Hi, that's not us. So I was tired of waking up every 2 to 3 hours for 2 years basically. And so I was ready to night wean Wade, hoping that would help him sleep better. Spoiler alert, it didn't. That's a whole nother thing, not this video. But it did give me some like sanity back at night. So that was hard. Like we chose not to sleep train. So night weaning was one of the few times where it was like this hard thing at night. And so I explained to him, and he was old enough to kind of understand, so it made it easier, that Milks had to go to bed at night. And those first few nights, oh my gosh, talking about heartbreaking. He was just come apart. Milks are his comfort, and he just had a complete meltdown. And it was completely heartbreaking, but I told him we could always snuggle. And so we would snuggle together, and we got through it, and eventually every now and then he would ask for milk at night, but he knew like Milks went to bed at night. And that was good for me because it did help him sleep a little bit longer, and it just gave me some much needed mental health reset that I needed, because I was so exhausted I couldn't think straight. So it's okay to night wean and not day wean. Like you can change different parts of your breastfeeding journey as you go. Okay, it's okay to breastfeed while you're pregnant. I've seen different conflicting things out there, but I talked to my midwife when I got pregnant with Theo, and they said it was fine to breastfeed through the entire pregnancy. I also saw a lot of things out there that said a lot of people's milk dries up around 20 weeks. And around 20 weeks, I thought it did, and it did dry up a little bit, and I was kind of excited because I was like, oh, this will be a natural like weaning process. I had a lot of sensitivity breastfeeding while I was pregnant, perseverance. And so I thought, oh, this will be natural, because I didn't want to wean Wade before Theo got here, because he was already like having some, he wasn't a baby. There's a new baby. I didn't want to throw his world completely out of whack. So, my supply definitely dipped. It came back. So I breastfed the entire time I was pregnant, and then just picked up with Theo on day 1 with him. And so it's okay to breastfeed while you're pregnant. That's a personal choice though. Figure out what's good for you, but if you want to, you can. Oh, this is my favorite thing about breastfeeding, is magic. It is magic, magic, magic. Whatever's wrong with your child. If they are tired, you can breastfeed. If they are hungry, breastfeed. Scared, breastfeed. You don't know what's wrong with them. They're having a complete come apart, breastfeed. Sick, won't eat anything, won't drink anything, breastfeed. It's the magic bullet for everything. And it's so handy because it's always with you. If you're the mom, if you're one of the caretakers and the mom's not there, I'm sorry. Sorry you don't have the magic bullet. So that's probably like my favorite thing about breastfeeding. And I always knew when Wade was sick and he wasn't eating anything, even through toddlerhood, he was always well hydrated, he had nutrients, and he had immunity building because he would breastfeed. So it's just like, it's magic for everything. So while you're breastfeeding, make sure that you're nourishing yourself, because if not, you're going to feel very depleted, because your body will use whatever nutrients you have to make the milk. And so if you're not consuming extra calories, protein, nutritious foods, fruits, vegetables, then you're going to feel very depleted, which is not where a mom wants to be. So make sure you are giving yourself all the nutrients that you need so you can make milk and supply that for your child and still have some left over for yourself. Oh, and also along the same lines, make sure you're still taking your prenatal vitamins. There's extra vitamins and supplements you can take to help with your milk. I take fenugreek. That doesn't work for everyone, so definitely figure out what works for your body. Oh, third thing, nutrients. Hydration. I know sometimes it gets very easy to get busy as a mom and you realize you haven't drank water in hours. Make sure you're staying hydrated because that will also affect your milk supply. There are hard days, like I said, that perseverance. When you feel like you need help, reach out to a lactation consultant. It's the IBCLC. I'll link it below. They are a group of lactation consultants. There's probably one in your town, so definitely look for someone to help you. Now, what I didn't realize is they help with all kinds of things. So I'm going to give you just a rundown of things they can help you with, and you may not have thought of some of these things. They can help with breastfeeding pain, low supply or oversupply. I'm an oversupplier in those early days. Some people are low supply. If you have any questions about pumping, which I wouldn't have thought about asking a lactation consultant about pumping, but they can help you. If you have stress or anxiety around nursing, if your baby's not latching correctly, if they're not gaining weight, if they're spitting up a lot. And then in addition to all of those things around the actual breastfeeding, when you're ready to wean, if you need help, they're also there for you. So whether you're at day 1 or day 1200, feel like you can reach out to a lactation consultant. And finally, this is your journey. It's a journey between you and your child, and hopefully your husband's on board too, because having that in-house support is good. So make sure he understands your wants and so he can be there to support you, but ultimately it's your journey. So when it stops working for you and or your baby, then that's when your journey should be over. People are going to have opinions on this, which seems kind of silly because it really has nothing to do with anyone else. People will think at 6 months you should stop breastfeeding, or 12 months. If your kid can talk, they're too old to breastfeed. If they have teeth, you shouldn't breastfeed. Everyone has opinions and these like weird deadlines. But the truth is, the CDC and the WHO both suggest breastfeeding for 2 years. So that's changed, I think, with the CDC in recent years from 1 year to 2 years, and then the WHO has always been 2 years. It's normal. Like, your child needs these nutrients, even when they're eating food. This is your journey. So please don't let people make you feel bad about what you're doing. If you're giving your child breast milk, you are helping them. And it doesn't matter what anyone else says. I'm sure my loved ones have thought before, like, will Wade still be feeding when he goes to college? And honestly, I wondered at times if that was the case. Oddly, it's kind of coming to an end, which that'll make me tear up. Another video, can't get through without crying. That was very unexpected. But sorry, I'm cracking up at myself. Very unexpected. Okay. I will pull it together. So we're 1200 days. It's pretty much over at this point. When he'll mention it every now and then, or I think he just likes to a little bit because baby brother is feeding, or if he hurts himself, he will mention it, but he's kind of done at this point, and that's weirdly sad, even though there's days I was so ready for it to be over. But I know that I've given him the best start to life I can because I have built his immune system the best I can, and I know that he during those days where he was sick, I never had to worry about him not being hydrated. Like, it's just, and it's been like the most special bonding experience. I love that when he got hurt, he thought Mama's milk could fix anything in the world. And that was just such a sweet thing. And it was just such a sweet time we had together. Like I mentioned, persevere. And I feel like that just makes it seem like every day is persevering. But honestly, most days weren't. And it was just really sweet bonding time where we could just spend that time together. And so if you're at the beginning of your breastfeeding journey, you can do it. Talk to someone if you're having trouble, but you can do it. And it's good for you. It's good for baby. And the bonding is like the sweetest thing. I don't think I actually mentioned that, but it's a very sweet time between mama and baby. And it's how it's supposed to be. It's how it was made. I will say, I guess, end of video disclaimer, which seems a weird time. I know everyone has their, like I said, it's everybody's own journey. Some people's journeys are very difficult with babies in NICU, and that affects their supply, or for various reasons, it just doesn't work out breastfeeding. And that's okay. Don't be hard on yourself either. Everybody's journey is very different. So if you need formula or to supplement, just find the thing that best fits you and your family. But for me, it's been 1,203 days, as Siri liked to tell me, or wanted to tell me. And I'm starting over. So I don't know if it's another 1,200 days or if mine and Theo's journey will be longer or shorter, but I'm just here for it. And hopefully these tips helped you a little bit. Really didn't think I was going to cry in this video, so sorry if you made it to the end. You got to see me cry again. Thank you. Come back, share any breastfeeding tips you have in the comments, and I will see you later.